My name is Caroline, and I am 32 years old. I thought I had seen every form of betrayal, but nothing prepared me for what happened at my sister's birthday party. I walked into the party expecting nothing more than cake, music, and casual chatter. Instead, my world shattered. The house was dazzling. My parents had spared no expense. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, a private chef. I had chipped in for the chef, an expensive wine, but no one even thanked me. My mother brushed past me like I was invisible. My father didn't glance at me. All eyes were on my sister, the guest of honor, Tarara, my older sister, 35 years old, unemployed for years, but adored like a princess. My parents praised her constantly. She's just finding her path. As the night went on, I sipped my wine and tried to ignore the imbalance I'd lived with my entire life. But when my father stood up with the microphone, everything changed. His voice carried over the crowd. Caroline, as a gift for your sister, hand over the keys to your penthouse. It's only fair. The room froze. My heart pounded. This wasn't a request. It was a public execution. The microphone in my father's hand gleamed under the chandeliers. He looked straight at me, his tone dripping with authority. Caroline, he said, your sister deserves stability. You live in a $4 million penthouse alone. It's only fair you gift it to her tonight, in front of the family. I froze. My breath caught. 40 guests turned their heads toward me, waiting for my response. I could feel the weight of every stare. Tarara smirked from across the room, her eyes shining with anticipation. I forced a smile. No, Dad, that's my home. I worked for it. It's not yours to give. The silence was deafening. My father's face flushed red, his jaw tightening. Then, without warning, his hand lashed out. The slap echoed like thunder. My earring flew across the floor. Gasps filled the room. Phones lifted, recording, but I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I bent down, picked up my earring, and slid it back into place. Then I looked straight at my sister, gave her a cold smile, and walked out, because what they didn't know was this. I had been waiting for this moment, and I wasn't leaving in defeat. I was leaving to begin. The hallway outside the ballroom was silent compared to the chaos inside. My cheeks stung, but my pride burned hotter. I reached into my clutch, pulled out my phone, and pressed a single button. 30 minutes later, as promised, she arrived. A tall woman in a black suit stormed through the doors of the party, her heels clicking sharply against the marble floor. Her presence demanded silence. She walked directly to my father, her voice like steel. You have 5 minutes. The crowd shifted nervously. My mother paled. Tarara clutched her glass, suddenly unsure of her own victory. Guests exchanged glances. Who is she? Someone whispered. They didn't know. She was my lawyer, the one I had hired months ago when I first sensed my family's greed inching closer. And tonight, she carried a folder, thick with documents, things my family had no idea I possessed. This wasn't just a defense. This was the beginning of my revenge. The lawyer opened her folder slowly, placing papers on the table in front of my father. Mr. Walker, this is a legal notice. Any attempt to seize or transfer Caroline's property without her consent will be treated as fraud and coercion. Tonight's incident is fully documented. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Cameras captured every word. My father tried to bluster. This is a family matter. Not anymore. My lawyer cut in. You made it public. I stood in the corner, arms crossed, silent but powerful. For once, I didn't have to shout. The truth spoke for me. My mother tried to shield Tarara, whispering in her ear, but the panic in her eyes betrayed her. My sister wasn't glowing anymore. She was trembling. In that moment, I realized something profound. My silence was my weapon. They expected me to collapse, to cry, to beg. Instead, I let the weight of my lawyer's words crush them. And this was only the first strike. The party dissolved into chaos. Some guests slipped out quietly, not wanting to be part of the scandal. Others stayed, whispering furiously, phones buzzing as the videos spread online. My father shouted, my mother pleaded, Tarara sulked. But I walked out calmly with my lawyer by my side. In the car, my lawyer turned to me. Are you ready for what comes next? Once this goes public, there's no turning back. I stared out at the Atlanta skyline. I've been ready for years. That night, videos of my father slapping me flooded social media. Headlines called it the Penthouse scandal. Strangers messaged me, offering support. For the first time, the world saw what I had lived with, in silence. But what they didn't know, what even my lawyer didn't fully realize, was that I had more. I had records. Proof of money laundering, secret accounts, lies my parents thought were hidden. I didn't just plan to protect myself. I planned to bring their empire crashing down. Memories came flooding back as I lay in bed that night. My parents had always treated Tarara like royalty, while I was the servant. Straight A's, ignored. Scholarships, overlooked. Promotions, brushed aside. Everything I built alone. When I bought my penthouse, they said nothing. No congratulations, no pride, just silence. Meanwhile, when Tarara got a part-time job that lasted 3 months, my parents threw her a dinner party. I had swallowed the pain for years. Tonight's slap was simply the climax of a lifelong betrayal. And now, finally, I had a chance to end it. As the videos went viral, I scrolled through thousands of comments. Some pitied me, others encouraged me, but I wasn't interested in pity. I wanted justice. And justice, I knew, would not come through tears. It would come through strategy. And strategy was something I had mastered. The next morning, I unlocked a safe hidden in my penthouse. Inside were files I had been collecting for years. Bank statements, property deeds, offshore transfers. My father was not just controlling, he was corrupt. I had leverage that could ruin him. As I spread the documents across my desk, my phone rang. It was Tarara, Caroline, she said softly, her voice unsteady. I didn't know Dad would do that. Please don't destroy him. I almost laughed. She had lived off him for years, yet suddenly wanted me to show mercy. Tell me, Tarara, I asked coldly. Did you know about the plan to take my penthouse? Silence. That silence was my answer. I hung up, my resolve sharper than ever. If they wanted war, I was fully armed. 2 days later, my parents summoned me to their estate. My father's tone on the phone was falsely calm. We should talk this out, Caroline. Family doesn't need lawyers. I arrived, not out of obedience, but strategy. The moment I stepped inside, my father tried to guilt me. You're embarrassing us. That video is ruining our name. I stared at him. You embarrassed yourself. You hit your daughter in public. My mother chimed in. We just wanted to make things fair for Tarara. Fair. The word stung like poison. Fair? I whispered. She's lived off you her entire life. And when I built something on my own, you tried to strip it from me. That's not fair. It's theft. I slid a folder across the table. My father opened it, his face draining of color. Inside were his offshore accounts. This is just a copy, I said coolly. Imagine what would happen if the IRS saw the rest. The room went dead silent. My father slammed his fist on the table. You wouldn't dare. I leaned forward. Try me. My mother's hands trembled as she whispered. Caroline, think about the family. I smiled bitterly. I am thinking about family. The family you destroyed when you chose greed over love. For the first time in my life, they looked afraid of me, and it felt intoxicating. As I left, I knew their empire was crumbling. Their friends whispered behind their backs. Their reputation was already fractured, and I was just getting started. Later that week, Tarara showed up at my penthouse uninvited. Her eyes were red from crying. Caroline, please, she begged. Don't ruin everything. Dad's already losing contracts. Mom barely sleeps. I didn't ask for any of this. I studied her. For once, she didn't look like the spoiled princess. She looked small, but sympathy wasn't enough. Tarara, I said. You stood there smiling while they humiliated me. You let it happen. You wanted my penthouse, didn't you? Her silence was confirmation. You chose your side, I said coldly. Now live with it. I closed the door, my heart heavy but resolute. Days turned into weeks, and my father's business deals began unraveling. Investors pulled out, rumors spread, partners distanced themselves. The documents I leaked anonymously to the press were just the beginning. Soon government officials started circling. I didn't need to destroy him completely. I just needed to show him that I wasn't his pawn. Every headline, every whisper was a reminder. Caroline is not to be silenced. One evening, my mother came to my penthouse. She looked older, her confidence gone. Caroline, she whispered, we made mistakes. Please stop this. We'll lose everything. I stared at her, memories flashing, the favoritism, the neglect, the betrayal. You already lost me, I said simply. She broke down, but I didn't move to comfort her. Not this time. My father finally called me himself. His voice was no longer booming. It was cracked. You win, Caroline. What do you want? I paused, letting the silence sting. I want freedom. No more demands. No more guilt. And you will never touch what I've built again. He agreed. He had no choice. Revenge didn't come with fireworks. It came with silence. My family's empire shrank. Their reputation crumbled. Tarara had to find a real job. My parents lived quieter lives, stripped of the arrogance they once flaunted. And me. I thrived. My business grew. My name carried weight. The girl they tried to silence had become the woman they couldn't ignore. Now, at 32, I finally understand. My story wasn't about a slap, or a penthouse, or even revenge. It was about reclaiming myself. That night at the party, they thought they broke me, but in truth, they handed me the weapon I needed, my silence, my strength, my power. And this is only the beginning.